You try to be easy to deal with, and you feel this frustration building in you. For some, it might even get out. Somehow, the more you try to be respected, the less you are. Because respect doesn't start with them. It starts with what you allow. And today, we're fixing that. You don't earn respect. You set the standard through your own behavior. What you allow yourself to do to yourself is what you allow people to do to you. This is why you don't build how people see you, and you can't control or manipulate other people's image of you. You embody that from the inside and it shines out. Then nobody can ignore it. Imagine yourself in a work meeting with people you have just met, or perhaps in a house party with new friends that you have never met. You know how some people just have this energy about them that you cannot play with them? You don't even know them. You've never spoken to them. You don't know what they like and what they dislike, but they shine this energy through. You know why? Because they don't play with themselves. They don't tolerate what they wouldn't accept from themselves from anyone else. They don't sit before you and start explaining, I don't let people talk to me that way. I don't let people do this to me. I walk away when this happens. No, they don't talk. They just act. And because they act constantly in their lives, you just feel that energy. You know, you cross that boundary, you will hear about it, or they're just gonna be gone. And here's another very key element. Begging for respect or trying to convince someone to respect you is the fastest way to lose respect. And more importantly, seeking validation from others is a losing move with yourself, because that's how you start to internally lose respect for yourself. And when you lose respect for yourself, you shine that energy that says, I allow myself crumbs. I allow myself to walk all over myself. This is how to treat me. Walk all over me. So don't put yourself in situations where you feel like you're betraying yourself, even when you're alone and it's with your own self. You might consciously justify it, but the subconscious records everything. It records every moment you abandon yourself for the sake of something or someone, and it remembers it. And here's a harsh reality of life. People don't respect those who can't or won't advocate for themselves. It doesn't mean people are bad. And just like the example of someone that you don't know and you immediately know that you can't play with them, there are other people that the moment they walk into a room, you know that they're gonna let things go. You know that, oh, it's just Kevin. Oh, it's just Jasmina. You know, she's gonna get over it. You have this feeling about them because that is what they shine through themselves. You teach people how to talk to you through how you talk to yourself, through your values and through your principles. And that's why you gotta know where you stand, where you end and another person begins. You also need to know what you value, what your principles are. What do you stand for? Be certain about it and protect it fiercely. So how to get this self-respect? Self-respect, just like discipline, is not a feeling. It's a consistent habit that is built through time, through consistent action. And here are the key elements to build, to maintain, and strengthen that self-respect muscle. Number one, always, always, always keep your word to yourself. If you tell yourself, I'm gonna wake up early, meditate, or stretch, or go to the gym, if it rains, if it's cold, if it's uncomfortable, you still have to do it. Because when you do it, you have this feeling of satisfaction. To illustrate it better, this relationship that we have with ourselves is the same thing as if we have it with another person. Imagine your conscious and subconscious being two different people. Your subconscious is very stoic. It's very rational. It does not miss on the truth, no matter how much you choose to lie to yourself. So imagine you have a friend. They made a promise to you and you are relying on that promise. They have some excuse on why they can't fulfill that promise. How are you feeling? Even if you forgive them, you feel disappointed. If this continues to repeat itself, you're gonna start losing respect for them. You're gonna start losing value for their word. So the next time they tell you they're gonna do something for you, they're gonna come at such and such time, if they tell you just rely on me, things are gonna get done, you already know that it's not gonna get done. And a lot of people already know this within relationships. So don't do that to yourself. Don't be that person for yourself. You cannot manipulate yourself into valuing yourself when there is no foundation for you to properly value yourself. So if you don't keep your word to yourself and get mad when others also don't, or get mad when other people disrespect you, you really have nothing to complain about because they're just doing the same thing that you do to yourself. They are just acting at the same standard of life that you are keeping yourself at. Don't expect loyalty you don't even afford yourself to come from other people. And the moment you change your behavior, the other person will automatically change because we are linked by this invisible thread that is relationship or friendship or any kind of ship we're on. And when it vibrates from this side, it does make the other side move. And if that other person is not interested in moving into that direction of healthy boundaries with you, great, trash will take itself out. The second habit to build: always choose being uncomfortable over choosing to abandon yourself. Repeat this motto and embody it within yourself and act on it. I'll withstand discomfort as long as I can still respect myself. And you don't need to explain everything to everyone. Most people don't have the capacity to see what you see. This is an executive decision that you take for yourself. You don't necessarily enter in negotiations with someone else, especially the people who are trapped in their own patterns of self-abandonment. So explanations here only waste your energy and invite defensiveness that now you have to deal with. Depending on the situation, the person, you just take a step back or you leave. That's how you keep your boundaries strong and intact. The third point: always speak from a place of truth and not a place of emotion. You talk to people, you're excited, you share things, you feel yourself blabbing almost like you can't control yourself. And once you leave the situation, you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. If this sounds familiar to you, this is how to fix it. When you feel that chaotic, emotional, untamed energy within you, stop and ask yourself, what do I want to communicate right now? What is my goal? And what do I need to change as a result of this conversation? Anchor yourself in that and stay on point. A lot of the times we lose the point and we don't speak to manifest a result, but rather to soothe ourselves and emotions. Don't ask yourself, what do I want to feel? What do I want them to feel about me? What kind of image I'm trying to convey? Get out of all this and don't try to regulate your emotions through your communication with other people. And the last habit for you to train is to leave environments that are not aligned with you. If an environment makes it harder for you to respect yourself, to like yourself, to expand, leave it. Don't try to force your standards on it. At this point in my life, this is not even about how people directly treat me, but also being in situations with people who mistreat themselves. I cannot be in those environments consistently because I don't want to normalize for myself behaviors that don't align with my goals and the kind of life that I want. Whomever doesn't respect themselves or takes care of themselves mentally and physically, I cannot spend consistent time with them because that will rub off on me. And that is a way for me to respect myself. And the more consistent I have become in this, the more value I feel within myself. It's like my internal Aya is like, thank you. Oh my God, let's go somewhere where we actually can grow and expand and evolve instead of somewhere where it feels like shrinking. So as we were saying before, every time you honor yourself, self-respect grows. Every time you betray yourself, it weakens. And you cannot manipulate yourself out of this equation. This is just pure math, pure reality. And the sooner you accept it, the better and the faster your life is gonna change. If something violates you, don't rationalize it. Don't make excuses for it, no matter how much you understand where the other person comes from. That's empathy. Even though I understand where you're coming from, it does not allow you to touch me, to hurt me. I am my person's keeper. This is my responsibility, and I cannot allow you to go beyond this limit. Don't try to fix the person. Fix yourself. People have a hard time convincing their own selves to do things for themselves. You think that you have more of an influence over somebody's life? You don't. Just spare yourself the hassle and the lost energy and take yourself out and into something that aligns with you better. And don't consume content on how to manipulate another person into valuing you. First of all, it doesn't work. Second of all, even if it did, you'd still be stepping on yourself. Because while you are fixing this person and holding their hands and showing them how to live a better life, you are allowing them to step on your boundaries right now. Because right now, they still haven't reached that level of growth that you want for them and that you want for your relationship. So you have to make bad concessions now. And while you are doing that, you're training your brain on betraying yourself, and you're losing your respect for yourself along the way. And this is why at some point in time, that person also loses respect for you if they hadn't already. And here is the biggest, most important, and strongest tool in your toolbox: emotional mastery. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean that you don't feel them, especially if you're a very passionate, very sensitive person, very emotional by nature. Mastering your emotions is about not letting them leave this contour. You may feel things on the inside, but you are dealing with things internally and choosing how things come out of you. Mastering your emotions is one of, if not the highest form of self-respect. It's how you're calm, precise, and decisive without drama. You know what comes out of you. You don't betray secrets that maybe yourself doesn't want out. Self-defense is very important for all of us. I'm not talking about defensiveness. I'm talking about healthy self-defense. You need to honor the sanctity of your being. Don't let people in to what's happening inside of you uninvited. So know your boundaries, know the consequences, and follow through it with no excuses. It may feel selfish, it may feel very hard in the beginning, especially after a lifetime of self-abandonment. It might feel like you're guilty, like you don't want to share with other people. They might even guilt trip you, because if you've been self-abandoning, odds are you have cultivated an entourage who does not want to respect your boundaries. So the moment you're going to start tracing these things with them, some people might try to guilt trip you. It doesn't mean that you need to cut them off necessarily. It just means that you need to stand your ground harder. And if it's either letting them into your boundary or having them leave your life, have them leave your life. And following through is calm. Action, reaction. No yelling, no threats, no emotional outbursts. Sometimes not even a conversation or an explanation, just action. So remember the person that walks into the room and you just know that you can't play with them? Those people have already decided their value before entering that room. So they're not negotiating their boundaries in real time with you. Either you're aligning with the value that they have of themselves, or you're not. And before you confuse not having unnecessary conversations with insecure silent treatment, here's a reality to keep in mind that will easily help you make that distinction. Take all these elements that we talked about that constitute respect. If a person respects themselves or is working hard towards that direction and values you and respects you, they listen when you talk to them about your boundary. They listen when you talk to them about how they have potentially hurt you, because they are afraid of having hurt you. They value you. They are afraid of having hurt you more than they are afraid of losing you. And they are afraid of losing themselves as well. And when a person is scared of losing you and they try to get you back each time you're ready to leave, but in normal time when you have a normal conversation with them about your boundaries, they have no interest in respecting them. They don't fear hurting you. They just don't want to lose the advantages that come with having you in their lives. And that is a very, very, very important distinction to make. So with a person who cares for you and fears having hurt you unnecessarily, that person is someone worthy of having a conversation with. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a conversation, you're just gonna be someone who snaps easily and doesn't have anyone to support them. However, if a person has already shown you that they have no interest in actually respecting you and only wake up when you're about to leave, there is no conversation to be had. You already know the answer. You already know that you have to leave, so leave. The frustration loop. We all know this loop so well. Someone disrespects you, you feel small, you try harder to prove your worth, either by entertaining them or just being easier to deal with, or you get angry. Maybe you start yelling. You want them to really respect you. You want them to hear your message. Except the louder and more emotional you get, the more respect you lose, both in their eyes and in your eyes. Because even your internal self is like, damn, why you had us show up like that in the world? You know? So keep this in your mind, please. Boundaries are lived. They're not explained. This is not a group project. It's internal kitchen. And to cook this amazing, tasty meal, you need 3 ingredients. Clear standards, boundaries that are non-negotiable, and both of them rooted in knowing yourself, knowing what you stand for, knowing what's important for you, what's not important for you, what costs you dearly, and what you can bounce back from very easily. You don't do that by listening to other people's standards, and you don't do that by blindly taking a person as inspiration and just copy-paste their boundaries. You have to get really very well acquainted with yourself. These are the pillars of emotional stability. Knowing thyself, accepting thyself, growing thyself, protecting and preserving thyself, which means protecting your sanctity as a whole. This is what helps you construct a strong and deep sense of self that will show you where you stand. And in turn, a strong sense of self shows you where your boundaries lie. And of course, in having relationships with people, things are not always perfect. Sometimes we have to make certain concessions. However, never let yourself be violated. A minor discomfort to allow yourself to be understood with someone who actually wants to understand you is very, very different from allowing someone to violate you and disrespect you. And as much as this is for yourself, it's also the kindest thing that you can do for people, because they don't have to keep guessing about your boundaries. People know where you stand when you show, not talk about, where you stand. You can never have respect by tolerating disrespect and explaining how a person should respect you. If you're trapped in your partner's or your friends or your colleagues' excuses every time, you feel for them, you don't want to be that person who is not considerate of others, then you are in a bad loop of measuring people by what they say to you instead of how they actually treat you and act with you. Some of our resources are infinite, but most of them are finite because it needs a give and take. You need to charge me to charge you. You need to help me to help you to help me to help you. So if you are in a situation where you're the one who's always giving, you're the one who's always conceding, you are being violated. You will feel the cost on your body, on your money, and more importantly, on who you are, your soul, your mental health, your stability. So stop measuring people with what they say and measure them by how much they cost you. So here's a very simple equation. If someone or a situation is making it hard for me to respect myself and like myself, they cost me too much and I cannot afford this. No matter who this person is, revoke access to yourself. And revoking access doesn't always mean getting this person out of your life altogether. Most of the time, it means limiting that access. You don't give them the pro version. They get the trial version now. And if they can't handle that, they get no version. So to measure the cost of a situation or someone in your life, there are questions that you can ask yourself. When I'm around them, do I like myself more or less? And when I'm challenged with them, is it in ways that gives way for that friction of growth? Or is it just confusing and derails me and makes me feel smaller? And lastly, does the behavior that I have when I'm around this person move me closer or further from my values and the person that I'm trying to become? As I said, this is an executive decision. You are the admin of your life. No one else is. Don't give that status to someone else. These are not conversations to be having with the person. These are conversations to be having with yourself. And when you answer them, you're gonna have the blueprint on what you need to do in a very clear-cut way. This is not about forcing your standards on that person or that environment. This is not about making the outside match your inside. You just see if your inside is matching your outside, and if it's not, you leave. You don't manage people, you manage yourself, your sanity, and your mental health. And that is that energy that those people that you know you can't play with have about themselves. So here's the bottom line truth. No one disrespects you without your permission. It is not about what you say or how you explain it to them. It's about how you act and what you accept. Whatever you normalize with yourself, you're gonna normalize with other people. So the more you don't tolerate nonsense from yourself, you won't tolerate nonsense from others. Respect is taught through actions, not conversations. And the reason for that is somewhere we're all primitive. If all that happens after a person respects your boundary is you yelling or just having a long conversation and then they still have the same access for you, that is exactly the equation that will enter their subconscious. At the very least, even if they have the best intentions in the world. The message that it conveys to people is, when I cross this boundary, all I get is nagged on a little, but the benefit's still the same. And that is why the benefits need to change. So learn to revoke people's subscription to you and access to you the moment you're disrespected. And again, this is very different from silent treatment. Insecure silent treatment is also a form of self-abandonment because you're still in that environment. You just want to punish the person a little. Stay tuned for more on how to treat your life as a business and make the best executive decisions for your life, for your soul, and for the goals that you're trying to achieve.